Good to go.
Okay. Let's welcome. This is a meeting of the Scituate Council of Aging Board of Directors meeting, Thursday, June 11th, isn't it? 12th, June 12th, 2014. It's 5:35 p.m. We have the minutes, we can review the minutes, but we don't, first I will have an introduction. Wait. Okay. Well, I'll have an introduction. John Powers.
Marty O'Toole, Board of Selectmen.
Linda Hayes, Director of the COA.
Debbie Young, member of the COA.
Gail Baylor, board member.
Meg Stillman, board member.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that would
So we have the minutes. Did everybody get them by email?
Yes.
Have a chance to look at them?
In other words, I do have a copy here.
Do you have a copy of the minutes?
I think.
Okay, thank you.
Did anybody have any additions or corrections? Do I hear a motion that the minutes be accepted?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
John, can I just make a comment? I'd like to thank Pam Davis for, I don't know exactly how many months, but for quite a number of months she's been doing the minutes, even though she's not formally on the board anymore. And as of this meeting, she'll do the minutes for this evening's meeting, but she's not going to do the minutes anymore. And she's not a member of the board now, even though she was a former chairperson. So I think just kudos to Pam Davis for stepping up.
Very nice.
Yeah, we appreciate all she's done. Thank you, Pam. And now we'll have the director's report.
Okay, hello everybody, welcome, thanks for coming, and yes as well. It's been an active month. I think we had some highlights for the month of May that we were happy to offer and felt that we had good success with. Something, the first time activity was Tech Savvy Seniors program that we had done over at the Scituate High School with students from the Rotary Interact Club. So there were 3 high school student volunteers helping 7 of our seniors working with iPads and laptops. Really had great success with doing it, and we were very happy to have it work out and hope to continue that come the fall as well. So I'm sure that will catch on as the seniors who did participate were really happy with that, as were the high school students. So that was great. We also had a morning Charlie Card senior discount. Gavtra actually came to the senior center, and they take pictures and take applications in for the discount senior access card for MBTA riding, whether it's the T or the train. They can still show it. They get a discount on the train as well, and any buses, any public
The
transportation.
commuter train is half price. That's a big savings.
It is a big savings. So we actually did 56 that day, and it was very nice. They actually waived the fee for us that day. There were just so many people. So that was nice. And in fact, if someone wanders into the senior center wanting one now, we can take their picture and just mail it in with their information, and then they get it in the mail. So that's a nice service. It's actually easier now with Gavtra able to do it, because the MBTA, you have to wait a bit. They would come down from Boston and actually do the process then, but it's much easier with Gavtra now. So that was great. And we also have been, we've had a Matter of Balance 8-week evidence-based curriculum group of 12, I believe, coming in each week for fall awareness and prevention in older adults, which we have currently led by Norwell VNA nurses, physical therapists, 2 of them, with state money that we receive from the state that we used to pay them as well. So it's great. We've done it twice in the year's time. There is another evidence-based program that we'll plan to do in the fall. That's chronic disease self-management. I'm trained in that. Chronic disease or chronic pain self-management. So we have a few, but this one is very popular. So we're glad to have had that happen this spring.
Yeah? Okay.
Linda?
So I was just thinking about Kim Davis, sorry. Could you just explain a little bit about the pain management program? That you will be...
Sure, that is a 6-week, both the chronic disease self-management and the pain self-management. It runs through, it's evidence-based, which just means the curriculum's been written and the data's proven that it's effective, successful. So each week there's particular segments that are covered by the leaders. And there's not really homework, there's some discussion, there's some sharing, there's some opportunity just to learn strategies and methods for overcoming some of that. Some of it's just resources to take advantage of, and some of that, again, with the self-management aspect, is just knowing how to handle what you are endeavoring to just counteract.
I think that would be terrific. I think a lot of seniors would be interested in that.
Good. I would definitely plan that for the fall. Thanks. Other activities, we've been continuing with our cafe talks, and they're steadily, the numbers are increasing, which has been really nice to see. We had several people come out for Maintaining Your Brain with Susan Sheen, who works for the Life Care Center in Scituate, so that was nice of her to come in and offer some ideas, strategies, and information research that she could present to the people that were there who were really interested in that. A really great presentation by Mike Thompson, the geographer from the Stellwagen Bank National Marine Sanctuary, which is right down the street from us right now. He was wonderful. He's a geographer, researcher, and he did a wonderful PowerPoint, spoke for an hour and a half to a crowd of about 25 at the Senior Center. So we were lucky to get him, of course, and I think the very next day he was going out on the water. So they do an awful lot, and many people were surprised not only to hear that, but just even to know that they were there and so active in many of the areas, whether whales or shipping lanes or fishing or whatever it is that they try to protect in the water. So it's great. That was well attended. And then we had another sanctuary feature, the Elephant Sanctuary in Tennessee, which in fact even more people came out for.
I'm wondering what that is.
That was good. I was there.
That was good. And it's actually a woman from the Sheriff's Department, and she can talk on all kinds of things that the Sheriff's Department does, but she had come in contact with this, been exposed to it somewhere, and was just so taken by what they were doing that she had called them and said, well, I can't really donate a lot of money to help you out, but what I could do is just go around talking about it so people are aware of what you do, and they took her up on it. So that is what she does. It's just one of the many programs that they offer through the Sheriff's Department, just as outreach. So yeah, it was great. Great slideshow, great information. Cute elephants. I did list, and I won't go into it, but I did list our numbers for activities in May. And just to mention a few, we also had a men's breakfast in May with Roger Crawford, the Melon Seed Skiff Builder, and we had 19 men attend to that. We had a Mother's Day tea here, and we had 36 people come to that, and it was really lovely. We had a speaker, served some pastry and tea, and it was full. It was really very nice to have this venue. It was great. And then we had, and then the cafe talks, I think total approximately 50 people. Professional appointments, we continue to fill our legal appointments with volunteer attorneys who see 4 people each month. And then the Shine volunteer counselor that we have come, generally he comes twice a month, sees 4 people at each day that he joins us, and so 8 total. But in fact, for the summer, he's added another day because really we get so many requests that we fill up the future appointments so quickly. He's added a 3rd day to each month for the summer, so that's actually
Can you just repeat for me what SHINE stands for?
Serving the health information needs of elders has been the traditional term, but I've also heard it called everyone. So I think the official term is elders, but maybe they're expanding their focus, I'm not sure. Some upcoming activities I do want to mention. One is next Tuesday, also here at the Maritime Center, is our own, the Council on Aging's volunteer luncheon. So by invitation to all of the people who have volunteered for us over the last year, come in and serve a luncheon. We have some entertainment that is also volunteer, which is nice, the Something Else trio. So we're hoping, and I think I've heard it's going to be a great day on Tuesday, so that's coming up. We also have a cafe talk, a panel presentation that was organized by Edward Jones, who's also one of our volunteer professional services that we offer monthly. But she's invited a CPA and an attorney and someone else speaking on end of life. So that's this coming Wednesday, the 18th, in the morning at the Senior Center at 10 a.m. And then on Thursday, something that came in kind of late, but a program that the fire department had initiated. It's a grant-based program called SAFE. They'd actually done it in the schools as well, but then tailored it for seniors. So Senior Awareness Fire Education. But it's in conjunction with the Housing Authority and the fire department personnel and the Council on Aging. It will be on Thursday morning at 10:30 at the Harbor Community Building. And it's an overview by the fire department and each of us really, but primarily the fire department talking about safety requirements, regulations by the state, or guidelines and expectations for responding to emergency situations. So I'm just wanting to talk with people in the housing complexes as well as residences, single-family residences that seniors are still residing in Scituate. So it should be great. It was in the paper today. The Senior Center will put out a voice broadcast for anyone, but as well word of mouth if anyone knows of anyone that maybe we could just pass it on. We hope to get a lot of people there. Also, then this other cafe talks coming up for the month of June. A couple of field trips, which we haven't really done, but we have a volunteer coordinating a Foxwoods Casino trip in July. And also, we are providing our van to go into the Boston Museum of Fine Arts in July for an exhibit, which $25 for the bus, for the parking, for the ticket. So that's really a good deal, and they don't have to drive. So hopefully it works out, and we'll do more of those, which would be great.
It's almost filled up, isn't it? I think
It
it's
is almost filled up, but there is room still. We should also mention, I'd like to mention another cafe talk. Matt Brown is being so gracious, coming a second time. The first time was a men's breakfast, and I think the ladies were upset they didn't get to see him. So he's coming again on a Wednesday morning, July 9th, to do another slideshow presentation, History of Scituate, the funnier side, and he has people listening to him for however long he wants to talk. So really, keep that in mind, July 9th. We'd love to have you, and we do provide food, coffee, tea, refreshments. So great. We're adding a couple of exercise classes. I mentioned in my last report, a Zumba class for July. We have an instructor. She'll be providing the class on Friday mornings at 11. It's low impact, it's Zumba Gold, tailored, and really even can be done sitting in a chair if you just want to, upper body movement, feet tapping. But it's a great exercise, fun dance steps.
Is this going to replace the arthritis exercise class that generally starts over the summer?
Yes, except it's at 11, which I'm not sure
Okay.
Chris was, and it's at the Harbor Community Building.
Oh,
just
okay.
because there's more space there for dancing.
Yes.
And then we're doing another power stretch strength training in August, again, just to replace what we're missing for the summer. I did attach, of course, there's both an outreach report and a social services report. They both come under the heading of outreach, but Laura Manier, the manager of social services, does some things that Jenny at the Senior Center does not always. They both provide home visits, office consults, telephone consults, but Laura's categories also cover some other areas, psychosocial advocacy, and some other things that she's called into, and in addition she provides some assistance for under 60 as well as over 60. So her report's on the back of that. Just numbers and some of the areas and programs that they're involved in. Laura and Jenny both are spearheading the hoarding task force that does include other departments and personnel in Scituate, and then also may become a little bit more regional if it seems worth it. So right now they're gathering resources and educating ourselves. We are educating ourselves in order to provide more information to the committee, to the task force, and then ultimately to the community. So that's something that's coming up in the future as well.
Can I ask a question? If you know of someone that you think is a senior and they're by themselves, and they're, let's just say, from the appearance of the outside of the eye, they appear to be a hoarder, and you think that person needs some help, what What can you do? Is there anything you can do to help them?
At this point, perhaps to just mention to someone that you have a concern, it could be the fire department, it could be Laura, the COA,
Okay.
and myself,
Okay.
or even one of the police,
Okay.
any of the responders. And that's something we do need to determine,
Yeah,
you know, who best to begin the process through.
okay. The same thing if you know that someone's living alone and maybe they're not eating properly or something, or they need some sort of help.
To funnel, I think we're all trying to work together, so the information could be funneled from any of those sources.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
To us. And in addition, the transportation report is there as well from Q Cutler, so you can take a look at that ride. About steady, I guess. We do an awful lot of out-of-town medicals, but again, that's, the services are provided through the grant funding that we get, both really through GATRA and Social or Elder Services as well. So we're happy to do that and hope it continues to be busy because we do have the ability to provide that consistently. And that is the final report. Thank you.
Okay. And I'll give you a report of the South Shore Elderly Services. On the board, we met on June 3rd. With Sandra Lancy, who is the Chief Executive Officer. She's been there a year now, and she's done a great deal. The Elder Services continues to grow. It's in great progress, and it's in the media all the time. And it's very visible in the press and community. It's the first agency that works with the public health. And all the board agreed that she's doing an outstanding job, and all the workers that had got an increase in salary, and they approved one for her. There was a letter sent from the Mass Home Corps, and I just wanted to read a couple of sentences about Sandra's contribution to the Mass Home Care. Sandra understands the importance of disability in branding for our association and has helped other executive directors see the value of promoting their mission and agenda online to the rest of the healthcare system. Her energy and enthusiasm for our work as a statewide network has been welcome. She appreciates that whatever makes her association stronger makes SSES stronger. She has been a valued partner in our work, and she's done a great job. We always have a board training at the end of the session, and this was a state home care on-call programs, which I'll just give a brief purpose of the state home care on-call program is to have qualified individuals address consumers' immediate needs during non-business hours, which includes weekends, holidays, and overnights. And they have several volunteers that do that. They are going to have their big service award luncheon on Thursday, June 19th at noontime at Lantanis. And that's for their volunteers and all the drivers for Meals on Wheels. So there won't be any delivery of Meals on Wheels on Thursday, but you've got extra meals for those days. And that's, they also have a big raffle tickets for that to raise money. And I think that's it.
Can I ask, was it discussed, so are you going to continue to be the liaison for social elder services?
Yes.
After stepping down from the board? Okay. Wasn't sure about
Thank you, John.
that. So you'll have to continue to come to our board meetings.
Right, but it's a great group, and Sandra's unbelievable. I don't know where she, when she sleeps, because she does a lot.
They need
She does a lot.
that, so that's great.
And then we're happy to have Kathy Dimash from the Housing Authority Executive Director to talk to us about the house. Welcome.
I want to thank you, Kathy, thank you very much. Thank you. No, I'm not sure we're,
You want to sit here?
Thank you for inviting me. It's nice to be here because it's good for me to be informed about
It is
what's going on.
So, thank you.
I was just going to give a general background on what Scituate Housing Authority does, and we provide housing for elderly disabled. We have two programs. One is the federal and one is the state program. The federal building is 51 units and it's located at Central Park School, right off of Branch Street there. And the requirements are all listed on the town website, but a little bit different from the federal. The age is 62 and the income limits for the federal are currently $32,150 for one person annual, and two persons is $36,750. Asset limit is none. There is no limit on assets.
Okay.
So, and the only preferences in the federal program are if you have been involuntarily displaced, you're living in substandard housing, or paying 50% or more of income for rent. The state program is 158 units we have, and that consists of Lincoln Park, which is off of Country Way, and Wheeler Park 1 and 2, which are kind of front and back. And over there is a total of 40 and 78. That's 158, right? 118.
118,
Sorry.
118.
Plus the 40 at Lincoln. But, so those are different qualifications in that the age limit is 60. And the
Unless
income,
disabled, is it younger if disabled?
yes, non-elders and, or elderly, which is 60. The income over there is currently $45,500 annually for one person and $52,000 for two persons. The income limits are updated usually every 2 years by the state, and those should be changing in August. So, in the state program, you do get a preference if you're a local resident, if you work in the town, and especially if you're a local veteran. Local veterans take precedence, they go right to the top. And the waiting list is usually, we guesstimate six months to a year for residents, and for non-residents it can be 2 years or more. You know, depending on how consistently locals come in with applications. So, I mean, you could be a regular local resident on the list for some time, and if veterans come in, they go ahead.
Well, they can, right, but in the veteran still needs to make the age requirement. That doesn't
Yes. Or
exclude.
be disabled, yeah. So that's what we provide. We are independent living. We do not provide services. However, when we come across people that we feel, you know, maybe starting to need services, we will intervene, and sometimes we're calling Council on Aging or South Shore Elder Services to see if we can get someone to come out and evaluate and get some services put into place, because, you know, at some point we all need help. So,
Is Scituate unique in the number that we have provided? Have we seen?
for housing,
Yes.
it's a good amount for elderly disabled. We don't have any family housing,
Okay.
and a lot of towns do. But, yeah, it's a fair amount.
Kent Village isn't considered?
No, that's not under our jurisdiction.
Oh, okay.
I believe you have to have a Section 8 voucher to qualify for
Oh.
the low income. Yeah. So,
Is that in the plan at all, expanding to include family housing?
for Scituate housing?
Yes.
Not at this time, no. And I to put it, you know, gently, but I don't think that many people would be fond of having low-income family
Not really a
housing.
successful model.
Yeah. It
Integrated.
It brings a lot of different aspects
Mhm.
with it. But we do have a piece of land on the Driftway that was given to the Housing Authority, I think,
Oh.
15 years plus.
Maybe 20,
Maybe.
close to 20.
And it was given with the intention that it would be developed for low-income affordable housing of some kind. And initially, the zoning called for, I believe, homeowning or just rental, but now the zoning has been changed and it can be either rental or homeownership. But it's kind of been sitting for many, many years. I believe it was attempted, in the past, past board members tried to do some developing with it, but was unsuccessful. And I don't know, I wasn't here at the time, but I think it might have been the way it was presented to the neighbors. And this time around, we have a great board presently. Stephen Coulter is our chair, and we have Mike Collins, who's the state appointee, and Elizabeth Judge, Teresa Martini, and John Zagoras. And so they are all trying to get moving on getting this land developed. So we have luckily secured a pro bono consultant who lives in Scituate, Joe Armstrong, and his company is multi-family, I should know. I don't know, I'm sorry. But he's been working closely with the Housing Authority. We've had some meetings, and Marty's been at one, I think, initially, just to see where we could go with it. And we really didn't do any planning because we did want to involve the neighbors in that area so that they would be on the same page and have some say in what goes there, and rightly so. So we did hold a neighborhood meeting, public meeting at St. Mary's Hall last month, and it was well attended. It was a night that was pouring rain, but we had some, I would say we had 40 people, maybe 30 or 40 people. And Joe did a presentation, and Steve kind of explained what we would like to put there. And they were talking about, I guess, about 30 low-income affordable, I want to say affordable instead of low-income, housing units, and it's still to be determined whether it would be rental or home ownership. And we really wanted to get the neighbors involved on the ground level so that, we can listen to their concerns and work together and try to develop something that everybody is happy with. And so there was a walkthrough of the site that was arranged at that meeting, and it just happened, I think it was May 24th. It was a Saturday. So several neighbors came, and the chair was there, and I believe Rick Murray, one of the selectmen. And I think it was a successful walk of the site. It gave everybody a chance to see, the layout of the land and the concerns that neighbors have about keeping the buffer, and for a lot of reasons, but it deflects, the sound from the windmill, and it'll keep their privacy. And so things are moving, but slowly, and, taking a lot of input from the neighbors. And so I think everybody is a little bit happier, to be working together, and if we keep communication open, it should be a friendly project.
Kathy, isn't there an age restriction on that as well?
That would also be elderly.
Yeah.
Well, that was what is being proposed, and family was discussed, and, at that meeting, concerns were raised about if this family, it taxes the school system and, all of the other resources in town, and that was not our intention anyway. But it's still to be determined. It's not, nothing is final. It's a work in progress, and so moving slowly and working together, and just taking everybody's opinion into consideration. So.
What kind of a time frame do you think you're working with in terms of real concrete ideas or moving forward?
I don't think we're there yet. We had some preliminary conceptual drawings done, just so we would have something to show at that meeting. And initially, I think people got the wrong impression that we were already moving without even telling anyone. But, It was really more or less just to show them what could be. And the board and Joe want to do something that's tasteful and that will fit into, that community. And, certainly when everybody hears affordable housing, no one really wants it in their backyard. But if it's done right and it's,
Are they familiar with Island Creek Park in Duxbury? It's a good model.
yes, and I think at some point we will be taking a little tour of certain ones that Joe has suggested. So that's a good suggestion too.
I have a question I might ask. Getting back to the 62 year for the senior housing, you said that there was no limit on the assets for the federal
Right,
housing.
or the state.
Or the state, okay, that's what it was my question.
Is that it? So if a senior, let's say, or disabled, but it wasn't practical for them to stay in their home, but they owned the home.
Yeah.
Now they could allow someone else to be living in the home, but they themselves would need different, smaller scale housing. How then, is their asset considered in their rental
It is.
determination?
It is. It's all based on income, and so if they decide to keep the home and rent it,
Yeah.
that's income. But if they are going to sell it, it's only counted, we count it as imputed income until the sale actually happens.
If no sale happens and no rent comes in,
Then it's
does it
not-
have a value or it just?
It's not an asset, but we do look at the real estate value, and we will do imputed income.
Okay. Computer.
And any asset that they have, it's, basically we count the interest.
Okay. So there is a form, you have a form.
We do have a form.
Sorry.
I was just under the impression that if you went into any of this senior housing, that you could not own a home. You could not own a home, and that if you did own a home and you sold it right around the same time you were, applying maybe for an apartment, that a portion of whatever you make on your home will go towards will be expected to pay to the housing authority. And that's, I don't know, it's just something that I heard, and I just wanted to
No,
get clarified.
not necessarily. I mean, if they have a home when they have applied, and it's not been sold, but they are in the process, we do use an imputed income
Okay.
amount. But once the home is sold, and if they do, make a profit on it, that is income. That is considered income unless it's, going into different places. But it is a formula, and it's hard to just generalize by it.
So I know you do everything every year.
We do annually, we
And people
recertify.
sort of have to reapply their assets and their
Yes,
expenses.
they have to update us every year.
Yeah.
What if a family member takes it over? You must get that. If she gives it to her,
They give it to them. Yeah.
to a son or daughter?
We just need documentation on everything to
Uh-huh.
make sure that it's not still in their name.
That's why the trusts and things like that.
Right.
Both state and federal, the same formula,
Yes.
same structure?
Yeah.
You may have said this, but what is the, if I were to try and apply today, what is the?
Okay. Depending on if you're a local resident, usually it's about, we're only guesstimating 6 months to a year, and it depends on our turnover. Like right now, we have several turnovers, but then we'll go for a period of time and there are none. So it can be 6 months to a year if you're local, and usually a non-resident, we say 2 years or more, and sometimes that turns into 3 or 4 years,
But this is such a growing population in Scituate, do you feel like the 32 units is going to meet the needs?
Sorry, do I feel like what?
Was it 32 units? that you-
No.
Oh, I thought it was the 32.
We have 158 in the state.
No, I know, but the new development that you're hoping to.
That will be a different, aspect of the housing, and it possibly would be under a management contract. The housing authority would not necessarily be running that. And that, I don't know yet if it's gonna be rental or home ownership, so, but that tract of land, which is 7 acres, would only allow us to build maximum
That's the
30,
limit for that particular.
according to the zoning.
So what are your forecasts in terms of what your needs are going to be in 5 years?
Yeah, I don't have one. I don't. At this time, I don't believe they're building any new public housing through the state or the federal, so, you know.
It almost sounds like if it is in fact 55 and older, just for example, that people that maybe are living in their homes want to, maybe want to sell their home or just get into a smaller place.
Downsize, yes.
That's downsize, exactly, that might be an option for them.
Right.
The only thing that I'm finding that is that there's a lot of very expensive houses in the area, but there are also houses that aren't expensive. And I'm finding personally that what my house valuation is less than, what these new condos are selling for. So it kind of doesn't, it doesn't make sense for me to sell, because I'm a little too young for that. It doesn't make sense for me to sell my house to move into a condo where, maintenance free, but it's gonna cost me $200,000 more than what my house is worth. It just kind of, it doesn't make sense to me, so it's.
And what is the actual, I know the term of the wait, 6 months to 1 year, but how long is your list? I mean, that must fluctuate, I'm sure, but
It does.
just in terms of being able to accommodate the need,
Right.
is it great? the
Right
wait?
now,
The
we
wait list?
have probably about 90 people on the state waiting list.
Okay.
Local residents is, I don't even know, maybe 20.
Okay.
So, but every day, people
Right,
come.
right.
So, and then the federal list is not as long, I think it might be 60.
Do you find Central Park, though, there's a longer waiting list?
No,
No, I know people waited 3 years.
yeah. Over there are no local preferences, so it's, anyone that comes in, it's just in order of the waiting list, and it can be 2 years or more.
Lincoln Park, is that federal?
Lincoln and State.
State, oh, okay.
The central school, Central Park.
It's the only federal.
That's a
Okay.
What were the number of units in that one?
50 minutes.
Good information, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
So do you have the updates? Any updates for the board?
I do.
Good.
So I was gonna cover that right now.
Good.
First, the Board of Selectmen would like to thank Meg Stillman, Richard Mitchell, and Joan Powers for their service. What we did the other night was we did a couple of reappointments. Debbie Young had filled a vacancy for the remainder of the year. So Debbie's been reappointed. Dale Baylog has been reappointed. And then the new appointments we've done to this date are Dr. Gordon Price and Elizabeth McCabe. Mr. John Miller, unfortunately, the paperwork didn't get to us in time for the meeting, but he will be taken care of at the June 24th meeting. So that's the update.
So that will fulfill our board seats starting next month.
Correct. And I believe, is that exactly what we needed, or?
That's exactly what we
Okay.
did, without extra or alternates.
Very good.
Okay. Thank you.
And I appreciate seeing John here today. He's going to be the incoming president for Rotary, too.
Wow.
Oh, that'd be nice.
New business, I just want to announce that St. Luke's is having their dinner again. Always the fourth Sunday, which is June 22nd at 5 o'clock. It's going to be a chicken dinner with salad and strawberry shortcake.
And when is that, this Sunday?
That's the 22nd, June 22nd.
I did also want to add, this point, we're meeting, the board is meeting on Thursday nights at 5:30. As far as I can foresee, that can continue unless with new board members that becomes difficult. And I wanted to continue to meet here at the Maritime Center through the summer, but once this building isn't open, we'll have to transition, and I was considering the Little Red Schoolhouse. I haven't talked to the Historical Commission yet, or someone talked about another building over in North Situate. I can't think of the name of it. The WPA? Is that fun?
It's good, that's a nice place. Nice
So,
place.
those were the two I thought I would consider for the winter months, so just wanted to give you.
Your Rotary meeting there next week.
Oh, are
There we
you?
go.
Oh, okay. It does look very pretty. And also from myself too, I did want to thank you, Mac, for your service to the board, and Joan, thank you so much. You've been wonderful, and especially to help me transition into my position. It's been great to have you. Thank you for what you've done, and hopefully we'll continue to be able to see you both at future activities when we have them, and have your support. Thank you.
And I think we should thank Joan, especially too, because she's been on the board for 6 years, Joan, is that correct?
Yep.
And you willingly took on the role of chairperson because nobody else could do it during this time period. And along with all your other volunteer activities, you took on the role, the position of being chairperson, more responsibility than being a regular board member. So I think we should give all 3 outgoing members a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank yourself, Joe. You did a good job.
Do you have the July meeting?
Date for the July meeting? Top of my head, but I can't. And we will need to select a chairperson at that time.
July 10th.
So the July meeting would be, yes, July 10th would be our next board meeting.
I just want to say, I thought that we've got some really good new programs. I think that's great that you've done in a short time.
To continue.
Any other new business? Do I hear a motion that we be adjourned?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you all. Kind of a short and sweet, but